Welcome Facebook world. Today we have a different video for you. We have a video about Cayuga Lake. I absolutely love it, so I'm going to teach you a little bit about it. So here we go. Hit them with the intro. You're watching What's for Sale with Colby G. So you might ask yourself, what is Cayuga Lake? Well, it's a finger lake, one of 11. And if you want to quiz yourself, write down what the 11 are. But this one is the longest finger lake, just under 40 miles, from Ithaca, New York, all the way past Aurora. At its widest point, it's about 3.5 miles wide, and it averages about 1.7 miles wide. At its deepest point, it's around 435 feet deep. So if you don't happen to live on Cayuga Lake, you can go to different parts, such as Taganic, Myers, and Tremont. They have many things that you can enjoy, such as paddle boarding, you can rent some boats, and there's also several restaurants on Cayuga Lake, such as the Boatyard Grill that you can literally ride your boat and dock up next to. So one of the big things people like to do on this lake is fish. There's over 60,000 lake trout, over 25,000 brown trout, and over 40,000 Atlantic salmon in this lake. And that's not to mention that there's also over 50,000 rainbow trout in the tributaries around Cayuga Lake. And they'll likely stay around 1 or 2 years in those streams until they migrate into the lake. Fishing's absolutely huge on this lake. There's so many bass tournaments and local bass tournaments. You can also look up pro bass tournaments on the internet. Last year, I just happened to be outside at the right time when a pro bass fisherman went by, and I got to look his name up on Instagram, and I've been following him ever since. So if you happen to have some extra time and you hear about the local bass pros fishing, it could be something worth your time. We were talking about fish. Now we're going to talk about myths regarding Cayuga Lake. And one of them is Old Greenie. Ooh. He was a serpent-type looking thing that people along the east shores of Cayuga Lake would spot in their cottages. And there was also people who would drive by and would notice them. This was all during the mid-1800s. Many news articles would come out about him. Some people thought that he was connected to the Seneca Lake monsters, or he flowed underneath the water through the underwater canal system that's really not there. But you never know what he really is, and no one's ever really seen him. He's 12 to 13 feet long. Let me know if you see him. Probably ask why I was drumming. Well, that's another myth around this lake called lake drums, where people hear little boom noises that does not come from the camp across the lake. It actually goes back all the way to a myth of post-Revolutionary War, where a guy was walking around the lake forever searching for his regiment, banging on his drum. Another explanation is that it was the Cayuga or Seneca nations, god of thunder, banging on their drums. But it really just might be gas bubbles coming from the lake. So growing up, I always wondered, why isn't there a bridge across the lake from Lansing to Trumansburg? It would save everyone at least 30 minutes of driving. But little fact, over 200 years ago, there was a bridge over on the north end, from East Cayuga to West Cayuga. The bridge was actually around 1 mile long and 130 feet wide. It ended up breaking down because of ice, but they let it go for around 50 years and had to replace it. The bridge was actually the longest bridge in the Western world. It collapsed in 1808, but they made a replacement bridge that actually lasted until 1857. You had to pay a toll to use this bridge. At first, it was profitable, but soon after, it was not profitable at all. And at the end, in 1857, they literally only had 6 cents in their bank account. The ice doesn't stop me, though, from still wanting a bridge. And once again, thank you for joining me on What's for Sale with Colby G. We'll be back again next week with another episode. Growing up, I always wondered, why wasn't there a lake across the river?
No. Yeah.
So, growing up, I always wondered, why isn't there a lake across
No, a bridge across the lake.